Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. General Hospital spoilers suggest that Drew Cain might buy Willow Corinthos custody by bribing the judge. In the impending legal dispute, we wouldn't be shocked if Drew went that low. Since disgusting Drew has demonstrated that he will cross any line, why should this custody dispute be any different? If everything else fails, Drew can choose to make good use of his wealth and contacts with congressmen. Willow has been assured by Drew that she will not lose Wiley and Amelia Corinthos, and he plans to honor that commitment. According to GH teasers, Rick Lansing would stop at nothing to support Willow in court, but Drew's previous plan was completely thrown out the window. Now that Michael is home and prepared to defend his children like never before, it will be difficult for Drew to portray him as an absentee parent who abandoned his kids. Although Rick can attempt other strategies, they might not be sufficient to prevent Willow from suffering a terrible loss. He might even go so far as to bribe the judge to rule in Willow's favor if Drew decides he cannot bear the risk. Perhaps Drew could try blackmailing the judge if that doesn't work. After all, Drew's favorite pastime at this point is essentially blackmailing people. In any case, Drew has demonstrated that he has no problem using dirty tactics. It would not be shocking if Drew chose a criminal insurance policy and used extortion or bribery to influence the judge to Willow's advantage. It will be interesting to watch how the rest of this custody drama unfolds, because Drew will not breach any boundaries. Will Drew be able to honor his promise to Willow about her children? If Drew wants to ensure that occurs, how far will he have to go? According to General Hospital spoilers, Drew may tweak his plan significantly, so stay tuned for any unsavory developments. Sasha goes into labor and Carly rats out. Spoiler alert. As Michael and Willow's custody case starts. Naturally, tensions are running high as the hearing to determine Willow and Michael's child custody begins. Michael is prepared, willing, and able to do everything it takes to keep his estranged wife away from Drew. Willow worries that her disgusting romance with her uncle-in-law will lose her the children, and two secrets are about to be revealed. Watch the teaser video below to see how Carly enjoys telling Drew that Nina was behind the ketamine scandal that turned him into a tabloid laughingstock. However, Nina is also in possession of a potentially explosive piece of information. She has discovered that Jason is not, as Sasha had claimed, the father of her child. Instead, Michael is. It appears that Rick, Willow's lawyer, takes offense when interrogating Sasha, triggering Michael's protective instincts. He reacts even louder and faster than Diane could. But it seems that Sasha goes into labor on the stand, so he has excellent reason to speak out. Will we get to meet the newest member of the Quartermain family soon? Dante inquired as to whether Lulu had informed Gio that he and Brooke Lynn were his parents. She informed you about how I unintentionally discovered she had your baby and placed him for adoption, Brooke Lynn. She questioned him. She thought Gio must have heard her and Lois talking about it, but he thought she told him. She claimed she never intended for things to turn out the way they did when he questioned why she meddled. Then you should have minded your own damn business, he retorted. She felt that he shouldn't lose any more time with Gio because of her experience of missing Charlotte's appointment on time. Things continued pointing to Gio, even though she said she never intended to look for him. He claimed that many lives had been upended by the small-scale conflict between Lulu and Brooke Lynn, including Gio, who was innocent throughout the entire ordeal. He said, "You destroyed the one opportunity one might ever have to connect with my son." She informed him that she didn't want him back, and that she wasn't attempting to win him back. Never. They decided not to be pals. Lulu started crying as Dante said he wanted to be the one to inform Rocco about his brother, and that she should leave his life since she had caused him enough harm. Tracy met Olivia in the Quartermain estate, who was still processing the notion that she had watched Gio grow up, but had no idea he was her grandson. The child's former neighborhood loved him, and she was disappointed that she didn't feel the connection during all the time she held him as a newborn. Olivia informed Tracy that she couldn't stop thinking about how Gio brought everyone together. Tracy joked that Olivia wasn't clairvoyant, and the two paused, looked at each other knowingly, and Tracy laughed out. "At least not then," she said. "Oh my God," Tracy acknowledged. "Now I have blood ties to Sonny Corinthos," and continued by describing how Sonny has most likely been corrupting Gio. "I'm not going to have it," she cursed. When asked why she hadn't told Ned about the baby, Brooklyn said it wasn't because she didn't trust him. It would be all right, he told her. She pondered whether he felt let down by her for holding such a significant secret for so long. He claimed that although he had hoped she would have approached him, he wasn't going to question any of her decisions at the time because it was her life. But Lois's decisions. She always wanted to see her son and even dreamed of it. But now it's a complete nightmare, Brooklyn explained, adding that he will deal with her mother later. Ned assured Gio that once things calmed down, he would understand. What if I never get the chance to love my son? She was concerned. That couldn't be possible, Ned thought. To have a conversation, Ned exited and Olivia entered. No one knew more than she did what she had endured, she told Brooklyn. She reassured BLQ that she would always be there for her, saying, I was a scared pregnant teenager once myself. Olivia said that the two circumstances were different and that after Gio calmed down and they located him, they would comfort him that everyone loved him. Brooklyn questioned whether she should have kept the kid like Olivia did. Gio claimed that it was the biggest lie of all when Emma questioned him at the bridge about why he had broken his violin. He always believed that his mother, a superb violinist, was the source of his skill, and that the violin helped him feel connected to her when she passed away, like I was carrying a piece of her with me. However, it turned out that she wasn't his mother. I'm never gonna tell you what to do or how to feel, but I'm not gonna leave you alone right now, Emma said in response to his order to leave. He had a lot of questions about everything, and Emma thought that Brooklyn and Dante were being honest when they said they were unaware he was their son. He claimed to have always wondered what his father would think of him, and to now be aware of Dante's hatred for him. Emma told him that there were plenty of other people who loved him, including herself, so it didn't matter if Dante disliked him or not. She clarified that it didn't matter where he went when he objected to her recommendations for where he should stay. Where you go, I go. When Jason picked up Amelia, he thanked Sasha for being there. She looked down at her growing baby bulge as she remarked, I'm just happy Michael is back and he deserves to be at home with his kids. Despite Michael's return, Jason indicated nothing had changed and she could ask him if she needed anything. They both decided to keep up the pretense as the custody suit approached. Sasha felt hypocritical for assisting Michael in obtaining Wiley and Amelia, while refusing to let him have any involvement in the birth of her child. Michael believed her to be a good mother, Jason claimed, and the circumstances were different. Willow was no longer able to say the same. Sasha thought it was depressing that Willow no longer cared about anything but Drew, and that she would soon lose her kids as a result. Cody later arrived to see how Dante was doing. When Sasha questioned why, he shocked her by telling her what had transpired at the nurses' ball. He claimed that if he hadn't poked his nose where it didn't belong, it wouldn't have been such a huge mess. She told him that he was only attempting to do the right thing by someone he cared about, but he began to beat himself up. He wished he had persuaded Lulu to change his mind and expressed regret for not being a greater friend to her, Dante and Lulu. He told her about Gio smashing his violin on stage and said, I saw so much of myself in him in that moment. He believed that Gio, who loved his mother, had a worse familial situation than he had. As she patted her pregnant belly once again, Sasha emphasized that sometimes parents must hold secrets to protect their children, and that the secret should be kept that way. Michael refused to let Willow see the children at Carly's. She began to rattle off a long list of the things she did for the children, such as packing their school lunches and tucking them in, to which he responded, Not anymore. You also forced them to play family with their great uncle and second cousin after uprooting them from their home, he alleged. He informed her that the child always questioned him, When are you coming back and when can we go home? Michael became aware that she was prioritizing her personal demands over those of the children. He said that the court order stated otherwise and that he would be requesting full custody at the hearing when she told him he had no right to take children from her. On one condition he offered, You can still have a relationship with our kids. He also promised to grant her access to the kids if she broke up with Drew. She was forced to leave Drew's home and stop communicating with him. He remarked, Being with my uncle has made you awful because he has been an awful person. He advised her to decide whether she loved Drew or her children more. When Jason returned to Carly's, Michael congratulated him for everything he had done that night, and for taking care of Sasha while he was away by posing as the father of the child. Jason declared that he would stop at nothing to keep Michael and his children safe. Jason informed Michael that it wasn't his decision, but Michael still felt bad about sitting on the sidelines and doing nothing to assist Sasha. He told Michael that they had to maintain the masquerade, because he couldn't provide Drew and Willow with any more material to use against him. Knowing full well that it would turn into a knockdown dragout case, Michael expressed his desire to be involved in the baby's life, and stated that he would concentrate on Wiley and Amelia. Jason informed Michael that he had his complete backing, and inquired as to if there was any possibility of compromise. Later, Michael went to Wiley, who was asleep, and assured him that he would never again abandon them. Drew got inside her thoughts and made her realize that she couldn't trust Michael at all when Willow boo-hooed to him over Michael's stipulations, saying, "He is not the Michael I knew." They felt blindsided since Michael had kept his quick recovery a secret and hadn't told Drew he was going home. She declared, "I can't have someone that's spiteful and heartless raising my kids." She removed her wedding band and intended to return it to him, but Drew grabbed Lila's ring and remarked, "Not that one." He believed he had the same claim to the ring as Michael, so this one stays with us. "So we blow him out of the water after we dig up whatever he's hiding," Drew plotted. The community is in shock and astonishment over the bombshell claim that Drew may have bought off a judge to get custody of Willow. If confirmed, this would be a flagrant misuse of wealth and position to influence the legal system in addition to being an egregious injustice. Judges are supposed to consider the material impartially in order to decide what is in the child's best interests, making custody disputes already emotionally charged and complicated. The idea that a parent might use dishonest tactics to get around this procedure erodes public confidence in the judicial system and presents significant moral and legal issues. Willow, the kid whose future is at stake, is at the center of this controversy. When making custody decisions, the child's welfare, stability, and love should come first. The question of whether Willow's best interests were actually taken into account or if she was just a pawn in a high-stakes power struggle arises if Drew did, in fact, bribe a judge. For a child caught in such a circumstance, the psychological effects could be disastrous, leading to emotions of betrayal, instability, and disorientation. The harm to Willow's sense of security might not go away even if the bribery is discovered and fixed. There would be serious legal repercussions for such an act. In most jurisdictions, bribing a public official is a criminal that carries severe penalties, including jail time. In addition to losing custody, Drew might be charged with a crime if he is proven guilty. Since judicial corruption attacks the core of the legal system, the implicated judge would also face disbarment, penalties, and imprisonment. To find the truth, investigations would probably examine correspondence, financial records, and witness statements. Prosecutors would be under tremendous pressure to provide justice quickly and openly because of the high-profile nature of such a case. The social repercussions would be substantial in addition to the legal ones. When affluent people or public personalities are detected gaming the system, their reputations suffer greatly. In the midst of the scandal, Drew's friends, family, and business associates may distance themselves, causing his personal and professional life to fall apart. Even if Drew escapes a criminal conviction, the stigma of such accusations could haunt him for the rest of his life because the court of public opinion is frequently merciless. Willow's other parent, whether biological or adopted, would probably win over the public's compassion in the meanwhile, which may result in fresh custody requests and media attention. It is impossible to overlook the wider ramifications for the legal system. Unchecked bribery in custody cases creates a risky precedent where power and money take precedence over justice. The thought that a wealthy person may easily purchase a favorable verdict exacerbates the already existent inequities that ordinary families face due to legal bills and bureaucratic obstacles in custody disputes. Calls for judicial reform, including more stringent supervision of family court judges, random case assignments to avoid partiality, and required openness in custody decisions, may be sparked by this case. In order to encourage court personnel to denounce corruption without fear of reprisal, advocacy groups may also work to strengthen whistleblower protections. Making sure Willow is safe and emotionally well is her first priority. Family courts may move swiftly to review custody agreements if bribery proof is found, maybe temporarily placing her with an impartial guardian while inquiries are conducted. She would probably need the assistance of therapists and child advocates to digest the situation, especially if she was not aware of the manipulation occurring behind the scenes. The ultimate objective would be to put her in a setting where her needs are truly met, whether that means going back to her other parent, staying with Drew if he is judged suitable in spite of the scandal, or making a different arrangement. To sum up, the accusation that Drew bought off a judge to obtain Willow's custody is a grave one with far-reaching ramifications. If confirmed, it will ruin the lives of individuals involved and reveal serious problems with the legal system. Willow's welfare must continue to be the major priority, and her destiny must be determined by fairness rather than wealth or influence. In the meanwhile, this case ought to act as a warning to uphold the integrity of the legal system and shield defenseless kids from falling prey to corruption and greed. Lulu constantly assumes the worst about Brooke Lynn, who will be angry at her trivial actions and upset about the costs to all parties. Brooke Lynn, like Dante, will believe that Lulu was fixated on ruining her image. From Brooke Lynn's point of view, it will appear like Lulu allowed their rivalry to escalate the conflict and made Gio pay the price. Brooke Lynn might sour things with Dante now that he doesn't want to interact with Lulu. In the midst of the nightmare that Lulu unleashed, it will provide Brooke Lynn with a little solace. To be fair, Lulu might acknowledge that she wishes Brooke Lynn and Dante could make contact with their kid. Lulu will admit that Gio is innocent in all of this and at the very least feel terrible for him. According to General Hospital spoilers, there will undoubtedly be some intense scenes during Lulu and Brooke Lynn's confrontation, so tune in for more information on what these two will be up to. According to General Hospital teasers, we must wonder if Morgan Corinthos' comeback would come after Michael Corinthos' return. Will the other son of Sonny Corinthos and Carly Spencer make a significant comeback next? Fans have been speculating about the potential that Morgan might survive ever after his alleged death. Many fans would like to meet Morgan again in person, despite his recurring appearances in hallucinations and nightmares. Naturally, Michael is taking center stage at the moment. Before Jitch adds anyone else to the mix, it would be wise to give Rory Gibson time to settle into his groove as Michael recast. However, Gibson has been a huge hit in the part, so the show is getting a lot of credit for its dramatic surprise and casting choice. Michael's return might eventually be followed by another significant one, that of his brother. Getting fans to accept yet another recast character may be challenging, but it is not impossible. A new Morgan Corinthos may be welcomed and even adored if the correct person played the role. Convincing Brian Craig to return for a longer, more permanent role as Morgan would be the best-case scenario though. Having Morgan and his family back home would be wonderful, especially because he could compete with Michael for different romantic interests. Morgan's whereabouts and reasons for staying away could also be part of a bigger plot. Morgan's disappearance may be readily explained by a protracted hostage scenario, a brainwashing twist, or simply simple soap opera amnesia. In any event, Morgan's name is frequently used on social media in relation to personalities who ought to make a reappearance. Is there any way you would like to see Morgan get back together with his family? Is Brian Craig the only Morgan you want to see? Or would you be open to a casting of Morgan Corinthos? More cast shockers may be on the horizon, according to General Hospital spoilers, so stay tuned for updates on any more fascinating developments. After the ball, Maxie and Nina met at the Brown Dog. Nina told Maxie that Michael had both of Willow's children, and that she needed someone to talk to. It's going to change everything for the custody hearing next week. The way I see it, the only way that Willow is going to be able to keep custody of those children is if she ends things with Drew, Nina said. One thing, Nina pointed out, would make Willow lose her mind. Nina, are you going to tell Willow that you slept with Drew? Maxie pondered. Nina was thinking about it. If I tell Willow that, she has to see him for the liar that he is. I mean, she has to finally see that, right? Nina sought confirmation. Nina said that she wasn't certain she had the courage to do it. She's going to know that I sat back and said nothing while she ruined her life for a man who was lying to her the entire time. Nina was concerned. She's never going to forgive me for that. Nina was too anxious to tell Willow the truth, even though she knew she should. I can't bear the thought of losing her now that we're so close. It sounds selfish, doesn't it? Nina was crying. Did not, Maxie told her. Willow is my only child. If she turns her back on me, I have nothing, Nina said. Maxie informed Nina that Sasha was now carrying Jason's child and would be on Michael's side. But Nina still questioned if Sasha had any dirt on Michael. The fact that Jason was the father still shocked Maxie. She related to Nina the story Sasha had recounted about meeting a stranger in a pub who was also struggling with bad news. Maxie reasoned that since Jason had no devotion to Sasha, there was no reason for him to pose as the father. All of a sudden, Jason felt a sense of allegiance to Nina. It was the night before Halloween. I remember 'cause it was the night before Sam died, Maxie replied when she was asked when Sasha was said to have met this man. For Nina, everything began to make sense. Nina asked the bartender whether he had seen Sasha there the night before Halloween when Drew and Cody got into their fight after Maxie had departed. She handed the man some money when he told her she was there, and he informed her that a man had joined Sasha. After showing him a picture of Jason, Nina was informed that he wasn't the man. After that, Nina showed him a photo of Michael. It was the man Sasha left with that evening, the bartender verified. Drew insisted that Mac arrest Jason at the PCPD, but he was dubious and requested Willow to explain the situation to him. Mac stated, "So what I'm hearing is that the children are with their father," following Willow's and Drew's explanations. "Technically, yes, but," Willow said, looking puzzled, but Mac cut her off with, "Well, that's not kidnapping. He terrorized the babysitter," said Drew, who didn't care because he only wanted Jason arrested for being Jason. "The police must take action," he demanded. Before Sasha could respond to Michael about whether she had reconsidered her decision to have him in the baby's life, Carly, Jocelyn, and Jason stormed into Carly's living room, where they hugged Michael tightly and Michael thanked Jason for bringing Amelia. When Michael asked if he and the children might stay overnight, Carly was both thrilled and perplexed. "How did you know to come home?" she inquired, and Michael informed her that Diane had informed him of the court date when he had phoned her to discuss the custody matter. Mac quickly showed there to inform them that he was looking into a kidnapping, but he left quickly since Michael must have resolved the matter because Mac left before we saw Carly and her clan again. After that, Mac went back to the PCPD and told a shocked Willow that Michael had been granted emergency custody of his children. Willow demanded that Drew take her to Carly's house, where she marched up to the front door by herself. Before she could knock, Michael opened the door and said, "Michael, don't do this. Please don't take my kids away," she pleaded. Back at Carly's house, Michael congratulated his mother and told her she had done the right thing when Carly told him she had instructed Diane to proceed with the custody hearing without telling him. Ned walked up to Lois in the Metro Court Gardens and said, "Why?" Ned was still in disbelief, but all Lois could do was apologize. "Chase told me that it's all true. You didn't tell me that Brooklyn had a baby when she was still essentially a baby? Where was our daughter's father during the most difficult time in her life, when she most needed help? Not at all. Because you interrupted me," he yelled. "What adolescent daughter would want to inform her father of her pregnancy? Brooklyn needed my assistance, but I don't even think she wanted to tell me she was pregnant," Lois thought. She was quite embarrassed. Or maybe the Quartermaines would have swooped in and taken the baby as if it were just another asset, Lois said, revealing her true fears. Ned told her that he would have supported her decision to let Brooklyn have the baby out of town and put it up for adoption. "Lois, I would have helped," Ned insisted. "He grew up happy and healthy, and we were right there in case anything went wrong," Lois explained, adding that he had always had a problem with his family, and that Ned couldn't believe he had been living with his own grandson for over a year. Soon after, an enraged Olivia showed up with a grievance against Lois. "You're my best friend, Lois. From preschool onwards, how could you? You were the closest thing I ever had to a sister," she said, as Lois continued her tirade about how Brooklyn didn't want anybody to know. Olivia didn't seem to care. "I would never withhold such a thing from you," Olivia exclaimed in awe. Lois screamed, "I did what was best for Brooklyn and Gio," which just infuriated Olivia further. "Another lie. You acted in your own best interests. You put it up so you wouldn't have to share your grandson with anyone and could keep him near. Not even his mom. You are a disgrace," she yelled. "How can you look down on me when you didn't even tell Sonny that Dante was his son?" Lois angrily confronted Olivia. She spat. Olivia pointed out that Gio had lost his adoptive parents, and that she had to shield Dante from Sonny's numerous adversaries. Lois, you allowed that child to become an orphan. Lois said it was too late to inform Gio by then, and she reminded Olivia that having a baby as a teenager was difficult for her, and she didn't want it for Brooklyn. His mother and father were right there, Olivia cried. When Lois returned to the chair after Olivia had fled, Sunny came over and said, "Go ahead, Sunny. Go ahead and do it." Sunny stated, "I should have known I would have helped." Lois said, "I deserve it," adding that he had assisted without even realizing Gio was his grandson. Sunny acknowledged he could have done much more. "So, when you asked me to pay for Joe's music, you were trying to give me a relationship with my grandson?" Lois reminded Sunny that she didn't even know Dante was Sunny's son when Brooklyn became pregnant, and that she didn't want to burden him with the information when Camilla passed away because it was right when he discovered that Dante was his. Sunny inquired, and Lois said that she was doing just that. As Sunny, the one person who has been kind to Lois thus far, stated, "I wish it had been different, but I appreciate what you were trying to do." Lois finally started crying in Sunny's arms. When Gio told Brooklyn he was just leaving the Q living room, she pleaded with him not to go. Dante took hold of Joe's arm and stated they wanted to talk, but Gio became irate, yanked his arm away, and yelled at Dante to never touch him again. "Dante was completely unaware of my pregnancy." Brooklyn attempted to clarify. "He didn't know about you." "Okay, what's your excuse?" Gio questioned his new mother. "I placed my baby up for adoption. I only knew that they had gone to a loving household. I had no idea if it was a boy or a girl or where they ended up." Gio accused Brooklyn of not wanting him or thinking about him, but Brooklyn stated, "I certainly didn't know that it was you, Gio." "It wasn't that I didn't want you or love you," Gio claimed. "Simply put, I wasn't prepared for you. I became pregnant when I was a child." She sobbed. "I never ever forgot about you." Brooklyn, who stated she didn't think it was appropriate to upend his life, was distraught when Gio stormed out, and Emma ran after him. "Sweetheart, you have to let him go," she cried, stopping herself when Tracy stopped her. Gio wondered if Brooklyn had ever come seeking for him. "But he's our kid," Brooklyn remarked. "Yeah, our kid you never told me about." Dante countered that they couldn't make him stay. "You determined that I shouldn't know that I had a son, therefore I hardly know him," Dante said. "I want you to try to not let your pain obscure the fact that you met your son and he's a wonderful boy," Tracy told them before she left, causing Brooklyn to start crying. "You have every right to hate me," she told Dante. Tracy said she would allow them to speak privately, but first she had something to say. "Brooklyn, you are not hated by me," Dante stated. "I just don't know why you didn't tell me." Brooklyn described her panic when she found out she was expecting a child, saying, "All I could think was that I screwed up. Think back to that summer. If I had told you, how would you have responded?" she inquired. "I'm not sure," Dante answered. "I don't know because you never gave me an opportunity to make a decision. What I do know is that I respected and cared for you, but you've been lying to my face every chance you had for 22 years. I understand why scared, teenage Brooklyn didn't want to tell me, but why not now?" Brooklyn apologized for lying and stated she did what she felt compelled to do. "If your hand hadn't been pushed, would you have told me at all?" "Probably not," Brooklyn said in response to Dante's question. When Dante finally inquired, "Is it really Gio?" Who else but Gloria and Lois knew she'd had a baby? Chase entered the room and hurried over to his wife. Brooklyn nodded when he asked, and Dante realized his partner had withheld something from him as Chase embraced Brooklyn. "Chase wanted to tell you, but I begged him not to." Brooklyn explained of Chase's admission that he had known about the baby for a few months when Dante began questioning him. Tracy then came back and asked Dante to focus his ire on Lois, because she and her unilateral decision are what got us in this fiasco.